Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Let's get started. Uh, Imagine your car breaks down in literally the absolute worst, most dangerous spot on a massive multi-lane highway.
Oh, like total nightmare scenario.
Exactly. Traffic is just flying by at 80 miles an hour, and a police officer finally pulls up behind you, completely baffled as to how you safely maneuvered your car to this tiny shoulder without being crushed.
Right.
And you just look at this cop, deadpan, and say, well, a giant angel picked it up.
And not just, a regular size angel, an angel so large it could plant one foot on one continent and the other foot on another continent.
Right. And today, we are diving into a collection of sources that asks you to genuinely entertain exactly that kind of scenario. It's a really fascinating deep dive into Chicken Soup for the Soul, Angels and the Miraculous, edited by Amy Newmark.
Yeah, it's a compilation of 101 stories from everyday people who claim to have experienced things that latently, almost comically defy logical explanation.
Which, I mean, that is a tall order for a lot of people to swallow, right?
Right. Oh, definitely. Generally, we operate under this assumption that the universe is just a giant, cold, mechanical void, a place governed entirely by pure physics and, random chance.
Yeah, the old, if you drop your toast, it always lands butter side down theory of existence.
Exactly. It's predictable chaos. It's cause and effect. But what Newmark has done here with this curation is present a landscape where that predictable universe suddenly seems to have, like, a sense of humor.
Or maybe more accurately, an itinerary. And I do want to set the tone for us today, because we aren't here to hold some heavy academic theological debate.
Right. No heavy textbook stuff today.
Yeah, we're taking a fun, open-minded journey through these stories just to see how they challenge our understanding of reality.
And the way Newmark structures that challenge is actually the most brilliant part of the book. She uses a very specific chronological blueprint, and we are going to mirror that structure today.
Oh, moving chapter by chapter, right?
Yeah, exactly. The book posits that you can't just throw a continent-spanning angel at a reader on page 1. You have to start small. So the early chapters focus on quiet, serendipitous coincidences.
Right, and then the dial gets turned up, moving steadily towards spectacular, physics-defying events.
You got it.
So let's test that structure right out of the gate. Chapter 1 is titled Divine Coincidences. And honestly, the stories here feel less like supernatural magic and more like, well, staggering mathematical improbabilities.
Things that scream intelligent design rather than just magic.
Exactly. My favorite example of this is Dave Bachman's story, The Little Library.
Oh, that one is a phenomenal baseline for the book. It really asks us to look at the sheer logistics of chance.
It really does. So Dave and his daughter Isla are taking a walk, and they stop at one of those neighborhood little libraries. The little wooden take-a-book, leave-a-book boxes on a post.
Yeah, you see them in front yards all the time.
Right. So Ayla's digging through it, and she carefully picks out this vintage children's book called Little Stories for Little Girls. When they get home, Dave is chatting with her about it, and Isla casually mentions she has a new friend named Clara.
Which is entirely based on the inscription written inside the front cover, right?
Yes. This beautiful, flowery, cursive inscription. It reads, "Dear little girl, this was my book when I was a little girl. Now it's yours. Even though we'll never meet, we will know each other through these stories."
Wow, that is sweet.
But it ends with, "Think of me when you read them. Your friend, Clara, Newton, Kansas." Now, the moment Dave hears the name Clara and Newton, Kansas, his jaw just hits the floor.
Because of his own family tree.
Exactly. Because Dave's grandmother, who passed away long before Isla was even born, was named Clara. And she lived her whole life in Newton, Kansas.
That is wild.
But I have to push back on the mechanics of this because the logistics are literally insane. Grandma Clara's books had been donated to a church rummage sale in Newton, Kansas, which is over 1,000 miles away from where Dave and Isla currently live.
Let's just unpack the math on that for a second. A book is dropped in a donation bin in Kansas. Someone buys it or, it gets passed along.
Right, over decades.
Decades pass. It physically travels over 1,000 miles across the country. It bounces between houses, maybe other rummage sales, until it is placed inside a specific wooden box on a specific street.
On the exact day that the original owner's great-granddaughter happens to walk by and choose it. I mean, it's like a cosmic lottery ticket.
It really is.
I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Is the universe just playing postal service? How does a physical object navigate 1,000 miles of random human decisions to find its way home?
That's a great question.
Oh, and just to confirm, it wasn't some bizarre namesake coincidence. Dave and his wife dig out an old taped-up family recipe book. They compare the cursive in the children's book to a handwritten recipe for Clara's caramel cookies.
And let me guess.
A flawless match. It was absolutely her book.
So, when you ask how the universe acts as a postal service, the book actually offers an interesting mechanism for this. Early on, Newmark includes a quote from Molly Friedenfeld.
Okay, what does she say?
She suggests that angels or divine forces love to create these synchronicities to produce what she calls an illumination point.
An illumination point. I really, really like that framing.
It totally changes the perspective, doesn't it? The book suggests that the goal isn't just to return a lost item. The goal is to create a moment so mathematically impossible that it acts as a flare going up in the dark.
To get your attention.
Exactly. It forces the human soul to connect the dots and realize, hey, you are not alone in a random void. And what grounds Dave's story so beautifully is their reaction to this illumination point.
They don't just lock themselves in a room doing probability math.
Right. They head into the kitchen, bake Grandma Clara's caramel cookies, and just eat them. They turn an abstract, mind-bending statistical anomaly into a tangible family celebration.
They literally ate the miracle. That is the best possible way to handle it. Okay, so chapter 1 gives us the breadcrumbs. It softens us up. But as we move chronologically into chapter 3, the stakes get considerably higher.
Yeah, we transition from passive coincidences to active, urgent interventions. Chapter 3 is literally called Divine Intervention.
Which introduces this concept of divine scheduling, I think you call it.
Yes. The forces at work are no longer just leaving things for us to find. They are actively tweaking timing to save lives, or in some cases, a person's sanity.
And that brings us to Kimberly Ellenwood's story, A Mother's Miracle. This one is incredibly tense. Kimberly is pregnant, and she is having a severe crisis of confidence.
Very understandable.
Totally. She is absolutely terrified of becoming a mother, feeling entirely inadequate and alone. In the middle of this emotional breakdown, her phone buzzes. She has a new voicemail.
And she figures it's just her OBGYN's office, right?
Yeah, just calling to confirm an upcoming appointment or something. But she listens to the message, and she just freezes. Because it's the voice of her deceased mother.
Oh, wow. The voice on the other end completely shatters her reality in that moment.
Right. Her mom is leaving this breezy, loving message, apologizing for missing her Christmas. And then she says, "I love you, baby girl," and calls Kimberly one of her heroes.
I mean, that is the precise emotional antidote to the exact fear Kimberly was experiencing in that very second.
Exactly. But here is where my brain starts short-circuiting over the mechanics of it. The message references Christmas. It's currently November, almost an entire year later.
That's the glitch.
Are we really supposed to believe that a major cellular telecom network just had a glitch that trapped a digital audio file on a server for 11 months and then magically decided to push it through on the exact night at the exact minute Kimberly was having a breakdown?
And that's the core question the book wants you to ask. Is it a glitch or is it an intervention? The book posits that timing is a recurring tool for these forces.
Like an impeccable sense of scheduling that overrides human technology.
Exactly. But timing doesn't just apply to technology, because if we look at the next story, we see that same divine scheduling applied to pure, physical, chaotic logistics.
Okay, you're talking about Peter the dog.
Yes, Monica Agnew Kinnaman's story. This is a crucial addition to the deep dive because of the author's background, which provides a highly grounded lens for the reader.
Yes. So to set the scene here, Monica's husband is at home, and there's a knock at the front door. A good Samaritan is standing on the porch holding their large golden white dog, Peter.
And the husband is confused because he didn't even realize Peter had gotten out.
Right, let alone traveled 6 miles away from the house. And the rescue itself completely defies all logic of how an animal behaves in traffic.
Completely.
So the Good Samaritan explains that he was driving south down a massive, heavily trafficked 6-lane interstate, right in the middle of rush hour. He looks over, and Peter is just standing calmly on the grassy median between the roaring lanes of traffic.
Which is a terrifying place for a dog to be.
Insanely terrifying. The guy has to drive miles down the road, take an exit, turn around, drive north, and then somehow dodge his car across 3 northbound lanes of rush hour traffic to reach the median.
Just an incredible effort.
Yeah. But when he gets there, Peter isn't panicking. He isn't running away. He casually climbs right into the back seat of the stranger's car. The rescuer noted it was as if Peter absolutely knew someone was scheduled to come pick him up if he just waited.
And this is where the author's background becomes so important. Monica Agnew Kinnaman was born in England in 1918. She served in a World War II anti-aircraft artillery regiment.
Wait, really? So she's not exactly a flighty romantic who sees magic in every shadow?
Precisely. She didn't start writing dog rescue memoirs until she was 96 years old. A veteran of an anti-aircraft regiment understands chaos, destruction, and random chance better than almost anyone.
That makes a lot of sense.
So if a 96-year-old WWII veteran tells you a dog navigating 3 lanes of a 6-lane interstate during rush hour without a scratch is miraculous, you listen.
You absolutely listen.
If we synthesize these two stories, Kimberly's delayed digital voicemail and Peter the dog's rush hour pickup Newmark is showing us a pattern. Whether it's data trapped in a cellular network or a dog avoiding bumpers at 60 miles an hour.
The interventions happen with a timing so perfect it implies an active, purposeful hand on the wheel.
Exactly.
An active hand on the wheel. Okay, so if Chapter 3 is about invisible forces turning the steering wheel of time, Chapter 4 is where those forces actually manifest physically.
Yes, the chapter called Angels in Disguise.
And it seriously messes with human perception. Because when the miraculous takes physical form, it rarely looks like a Renaissance painting.
It really challenges our culturally programmed expectations.
Case in point Michelle Close-Mill's story, Snow Angels. Michelle has a brutal fall in a snowy, icy grocery store parking lot. She is seriously hurt and can't get up.
Which is so dangerous in the cold.
Definitely. Out of nowhere, a man appears, hoists her to her feet, checks to make sure she's relatively okay, hands her off to a store bagger who happened to be nearby, and then simply vanishes.
It's just classic stranger rescue scenario.
Right.
The mysterious helper who disappears before you can ask their name.
Right. Michelle remembers him looking like he might be from the tropics, strangely enough. So she goes inside to get patched up and fills out an accident report with the store manager, James. She genuinely wants to track this guy down to thank him.
Naturally. So they pull up the security footage.
Yeah, James pulls up the store's outdoor camera feed to get a look at the rescuer. But the physical evidence of the event is where the story pivots from a nice coincidence to the unexplainable.
It really does.
I am still stuck on this detail. They watch the tape, and 2 entire minutes of video are completely missing. Poof, gone.
2 whole minutes.
2 whole minutes. In one frame, Michelle is lying on the ground in the freezing snow. In the very next frame, she is suddenly standing upright, being helped by the store bagger. The rescuer never appears on camera. There is a hard 2-minute gap in the timeline.
The implications of that are fascinating.
Fascinating. I mean, it's terrifying. Does the book explain if this is some kind of localized electromagnetic interference that shorted the camera, or did the universe literally just scrub the tape?
Well, the book leaves that ambiguity intentionally. What Newmark suggests through the curation is that perhaps the intervention happened slightly outside our normal flow of time.
Wow.
Or maybe the physical evidence of these helpers just isn't meant to be recorded by our technology. But if you think a scrubbed security tape is jarring, the disguise in Linda Sabaren's story is even better.
Oh my gosh, the warehouse twins. This story is amazing.
It deals directly with how we judge what we see.
Yes. So Linda and her boyfriend Chris are working at an FAA surplus warehouse in Oklahoma City. A massive piece of heavy machinery tips, and it's about to crush Linda. Suddenly, 2 incredibly muscular young men appear out of nowhere.
Just out of thin air.
Literally. Linda knows they have curly light hair, tan skin, light brown eyes, and this distinct glowing golden aura around them. They catch and hold back the massive machine with raw physical strength so she can escape.
So we have a physical intervention requiring immense superhuman strength.
Yes. But Linda specifically documents their outfits. They are wearing dark vests and lighter-colored pants that she describes as breeches.
Breeches, pirate pants, in an Oklahoma City FAA warehouse.
Exactly, pirate pants. And the best part is her boyfriend Chris's reaction. Instead of dropping to his knees crying tears of joy that his girlfriend wasn't just flattened by a forklift, he gets furious.
He is genuinely mad.
He literally sneers at her and says, "That's not what angels look like," and storms off.
It is a profoundly funny reaction, but it speaks volumes about human nature and our rigid blueprints for reality.
I mean, think about it for a second. What do you actually expect an angel to look like? Because I guarantee you aren't picturing a couple buff guys in pirate pants.
Probably not.
Do we expect them to be wearing modern business casual? A polo shirt and khakis? Why was Chris so offended by the breeches?
It's because we have been culturally conditioned to expect a glowing figure in a white robe with feathered wings. Maybe holding a harp?
Right, the classic Sunday school picture.
Exactly. When the miraculous doesn't fit that highly specific, rigid blueprint, our brains reject it. Chris just couldn't process the anomaly. But the book highlights Linda's profound takeaway.
She doesn't argue with him, does she?
No, she doesn't argue with Chris at all. She simply concludes, maybe that isn't what your angels look like. Maybe that is what I needed my angels to look like.
Or, she just caught them off guard in their celestial work clothes.
Exactly. The packaging shouldn't negate the miracle just because the aesthetics confuse us. The help arrived when it was needed.
The celestial work clothes. I love it. Okay, so look at the journey Newmark has taken us on so far. We started with a misplaced children's book finding its way to a relative.
A gentle coincidence.
Right. Then we moved to a cell phone glitch with perfect timing. Then we escalated to missing security footage and strongmen in vintage pants. But as we reach the final sections of the book, specifically chapters 8 and 10, the gloves come entirely off.
This is the climax of Newmark's editorial strategy. The subtle, easily dismissed interventions are left behind. We are now in the territory of undeniable, awe-inspiring, and frankly terrifying events.
Terrifying is the right word for Darren Weber's story in the Divine Messengers chapter. Dorn has this dark, ominous, oppressive dream one night. The next day, she's out walking her senior dogs, and she gets caught in a sudden, torrential downpour.
They are getting completely soaked.
Yeah, and suddenly, an older woman holding an umbrella appears out of the rain. She looks at Duran and sternly commands, "It isn't a nice day, dear. You should take shelter."
Notice the shift in tone there. It's not a gentle nudge.
Not at all. She points to a picnic pavilion in the distance and practically orders Duran to run for it.
It's a direct, urgent command. The stakes are immediately elevated.
And Duran feels that urgency. She grabs her 2 dogs, slips and slides across the wet grass, and makes a mad dash for the pavilion. And strangely, the older woman effortlessly keeps pace with them.
Without slipping or running.
Right. The literal second they cross under the roof of the pavilion, a deafening, thunderous boom shakes the ground. Duran whips around, and the tree they had just been standing under a few seconds prior is completely obliterated by a massive lightning strike.
Just a smoking crater left behind.
Exactly. And the older woman with the umbrella vanished into thin air. Just gone.
The timing, the physical manifestation, the literal life or death stakes, it's incredibly intense.
It really is. But even a targeted lightning strike feels somewhat grounded compared to our final story. This brings us full circle to the scenario I asked you to imagine at the very beginning of this deep dive.
Ah, yes, Esme Fenn in Chapter 10. Appropriately titled, How Did That Happen?
This is the story that pushes the boundaries of human belief to their absolute limit. It is wild. Esme is stuck in a highly dangerous spot on the side of the 401 highway with her dog, Eddie.
And for those who don't know, the 401 is a notoriously massive, chaotic Canadian highway.
A police officer pulls up behind her, completely bewildered as to how she maneuvered her car to this tiny shoulder safely. Esme, with total sincerity, looks at the cop and explains that an angel picked up her car and placed it there.
Which is a bold thing to say to a police officer.
Very bold. And when the cop looks skeptical, she elaborates. She tells him that there are angels so colossal they can plant 1 foot on one continent and 1 foot on another, so picking up a little car is nothing to them.
The imagery is mythological. It's not a guy in breeches holding back a machine. It's a cosmic titan rearranging vehicles on a highway.
Right. And how does the cop react? Does he breathalyze her? No. The cop just stares at her, looks back at the roaring traffic, and says, "Okay, you can go now, lady. No charge."
He was so stunned by her absolute conviction that he just waved her on.
He really did.
And that interaction is exactly why Amy Newmark's structure for this book is so masterful. If Esme's story about a continent-spanning angel was the first chapter, most readers would close the book immediately.
Because it's just too big of a leap. So walk me through that. How does the book get us to accept the giant angel?
Think of the chronological structure like walking into a pitch-black theater. At first, your eyes can't handle the light. So Chapter 1 is just a tiny sliver of light under the door, a book finding its way to a relative.
Okay, your eyes adjust. It's safe. It doesn't break your brain.
Exactly. Then the door opens a crack in Chapter 3. A voicemail arrives a year late. Your eyes adjust again. By the time you reach Chapter 10, the theater doors have been thrown wide open and you are staring directly at the sun.
That makes so much sense.
You have been methodically conditioned by all the previous stories to widen your lens of what is possible. By the end, a colossal being moving a car on the 401 highway feels like a logical progression rather than an absurdity.
That is a brilliant way to look at it. It conditions your belief. Going back to what we discussed at the start, the idea of the universe being a cold, predictable machine where math always equals math.
Right. The compilation posits that maybe the machine has a heart, or at least a highly active customer service department working behind the scenes.
A customer service department. I love that.
Which leads me to a final thought for you to consider today. If even a fraction of these 101 stories are grounded in truth, it implies the universe isn't just an indifferent mechanical void.
It implies something much more intentional.
It implies that reality is an interactive, deeply personal system that is actually paying attention to you.
That is a staggering thought. The idea of being known intimately by the universe itself.
It completely flips our understanding of our place in the world. So consider this. What if the real miracle isn't the physics-defying event? The delayed voicemail, the scrubbed security tape, or the car being moved?
What if it's something else entirely?
What if the actual miracle is our human capacity to pause, look up, and notice these illumination points amidst the absolute chaos and noise of our daily lives?
Just having the awareness to see the flare when it goes up. I love that. Thanks for joining us. Subscribe for more bookish adventures and hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge, spread the word.